Oopsie. Good evening. This is going to be the second reading in a podcast called Story Time with Gina. And this is going to be called The Maiden Who Was Wiser Than the King by W.S. Karajich. Let me get over here, you all. It's another story time. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. I'm just going to set this right here, and I'm going to see if I can read it because I have had a busy day. So we're going to read this. The Maiden Who Was Wiser Than the King. There once lived a poor man in a miserable hovel, but she was very wise, and went about everywhere seeking alms, and taught her father also to speak in a becoming manner when he begged. It happened once that the poor man came to the king and asked for a gift. The king demanded whence he came, and who taught him to speak so well. The man said whence he came, and that it was his daughter who had taught him. The poor man answered, God, in our great poverty. Then the king gave him 30 eggs, saying, Take these eggs to your daughter, and tell her to hatch chickens out of them, and I will reward her handsomely. But if she cannot hatch them, it will go ill with you. The poor man went crying back to his hovel and related to his daughter what had passed. The maiden saw at once that the eggs had been boiled, but she told her father to go rest and assured him that she would see that all went well. The father followed her advice and went to sleep. The maiden took a pot, filled it with water and beans, and set it on the fire. On the following morning, the beans being quite boiled, she told her father to take a plow and oxen and to plow along the road where the king would pass. And she added, When you see the king, take the beans, sow them, and cry, Hi, go on, oxen of mine, heaven be with me, and make my boiled beans take root and grow. And when the king asks you how it is possible for boiled beans to grow, answer him that it is quite possible as for boiled eggs to yield chicken. The poor man hearkened to his daughter, went away, and began to plow. When he saw the king coming, he began to cry, Hi, go on, oxen mine. God help me and make my boiled beans take root and grow. The king, hearing these words, stopped on the road and said to the poor man, Here, fellow, how is it possible for boiled beans to grow? And the poor man answered him, Heaven prosper you, king, just as possible as for boiled eggs to yield chickens. The king guessed at once, and it was the poor man's daughter who had taught him the answer. He ordered his servants to seize him and bring him into his presence. Then he gave him a bundle of flax and said to him, Take this flax and make out of it ropes and sails and all that is wanted on a shepherd. If you do not, you shall lose your head. The poor man took the bundle in great fear and went crying home to his daughter, to whom he had related all that had passed. But the maiden sent him again to the rest with the promise that all should go well. On the following day she took a small piece of wood, awoke her father, and said to him, take this wood and carry it to the king. Let him cut a spinning wheel, a spindle, and a loom out of it, and I will do all that he demands of me." The poor man again followed the directions of his daughter. He went to the king and delivered the maiden's message. The king was astonished at hearing this and began to think what he should do next. At last, he took up a small cup, and he gave it to the father. "Take this cup to your daughter, and let her empty the sea with it, so that it shall become like a dry field." The poor man obeyed with tears in his eyes, and took the cup to his daughter with the king's message. But the maiden told him he need only leave the matter till the morning, when she would see to it. In the morning she called her father and gave him a pound of tow to take to the king, and bade him say, "Let the king stop up all the springs and rivers mouths of the earth with this tow, and then I will dry up the sea for him." And the poor man went and told this to the king. Now the king saw that this maiden was wiser than he himself, and he ordered her to be brought before him. And when the father and daughter stood in his presence and bowed before him, he said to the daughter, "Tell me, girl, what is it that man hears the farthest?" And the maiden answered, "Great king, that which man hears the farthest is the thunder and a lie." Upon this the king took hold of his beard, and turning to his counselors, demanded of them, "Tell me what my beard is worth." And when one valued it at so much, and another at so much more, the maiden told them outright that they could not guess it. "The king's beard," she said, "is of as much worth as 3 rainy days in summertime." The king was astonished and exclaimed, "The maiden has made the best answer." Then he asked her if she would be his wife, nor he desist from pressing his suit until she agreed to it. The maiden bent before him and said, "Glorious king, let it be as you will, but I beg of you to write on a piece of paper with your own hand that should you ever be angry with me and should drive me forth from your palace, I shall be at liberty to take whatever I love dearest away with me." And the king agreed and wrote out the paper. After some time had passed away, it came, in fact, to pass that the king became one day so angry with his wife that he said to her, "I will have you no longer for my wife. Leave my palace and go where you will." "Illustrious king," answered the queen, "I will obey you. Permit me, however, to stay here over the night. Then in the morning I will go forth." The king granted her prayer, and the queen before supper mixed some brandy and some sweet herbs in the king's wine, and pressed him to partake of it, saying, "Drink, O king, and be merry. Tomorrow we part, and believe me, I shall then be happier than when I married you." The king drank too much, and when he was fast asleep, the queen had him laid in a wagon, ready prepared, and drove with him into a rocky cavern. And when the king awoke in the cavern and saw where he was, he cried out, "Who has brought me here?" "I have brought you here," answered the queen. The king demanded of her, "Why have you done this? Have I not told you that you are no longer my wife, Then said she, as she drew forth a sheet of paper, "It is true what you say, but see what yourself have laid down on this sheet, that when I should leave you, I might take with me from your palace that which I loved best." When the king heard this, he kissed her and went back with her to the palace. So that's a pretty cool book. I like that story. I really do. And it was from this book right here. It's an old book, you all, but it's pretty cool. I want to thank you all for listening. I do. And yeah, hello there, Rainia Blue. Your Auntie Gina says hello. Hello, Applebrooks, honey. Hello, everyone. Yeah, it's nice to read books. I miss it. I really do miss it. It's a part of my childhood that I miss a lot. It really is. So with that being said, hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello. From my heart to yours, love you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, you all. Thank you. Good night.